Welcome back to Graveyard Dance. How is everyone on this fine spring day? I was outside earlier going for a walk among the wildflowers, and I decided to play some music on Pandora. I have a pretty wide, and what some would say eclectic taste in music. I can go from classic country to heavy metal in seconds. Today I started to explore some classic blues stations, which gave me the idea to cover this story. We really hope you enjoy it. Whether or not you're a blues fan, or even a Robert Johnson fan, is beside the point. The whole story is interesting, even if it is a bit creepy. Before we get there, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and please also take just a moment to check out our actual site, where you'll find all our work. You'll also find our creepy and spooky store that has our merch and other spooky-related stuff. You can find all that at graveyarddance.com. With all that out of the way, here we go. Let me tell you a story. A tale steeped in mystery, music, and the supernatural. A story about a man named Robert Johnson, the legendary bluesman whose life was as fleeting as a whisper of wind, but whose legacy has echoed through the decades. It's a story that starts in the sweltering Mississippi Delta, where the cotton fields stretched endlessly, and the blues were born in the cries of a people yearning for freedom, love, and a little escape from hardship. Robert Leroy Johnson came into this world on May 8, 1911, in Hazelhurst, Mississippi. He was the 11th child of Julia Major Dodds, though his father was likely Noah Johnson, a field hand with whom Julia had a brief affair. Robert's early life was marked by instability. His mother's relationship with Noah didn't last, and she soon returned to the Delta, where she took up with a man named Dusty Willis. Young Robert shuffled between relatives and homes, experiencing the fragmented family life that was all too common for African-American children in the Deep South during that era. From an early age, Robert was different. While many boys his age were out in the fields, working the unforgiving land, Robert had little interest in manual labor. He was small, wiry, and sharp as a tack, with a mischievous glint in his eye. Music captivated him. He was drawn to the sounds of the Delta blues, a raw, emotive style of music that expressed the joys and sorrows of life in a way no other music could. By his teenage years, Robert had picked up the harmonica and was experimenting with the guitar. His first attempts were unremarkable. According to Son House, one of the Delta's most respected bluesmen, Robert was little more than a nuisance when he hung around local musicians. House and others recalled him as a young man who had a passion for music, but lacked the skill to back it up. He was pretty good on the harmonica, House would later say, but he didn't amount to much with the guitar. But Robert was undeterred. He spent countless hours watching the greats, men like House, Willie Brown, and Charlie Patton, absorbing everything he could. He learned to mimic their styles, but it was clear he wanted to carve out something unique, something that would set him apart. His ambition was as fierce as the Delta sun, and he wasn't about to let anyone tell him he couldn't make it. Then came the pivotal moment in Johnson's life, the event that birthed one of the most enduring legends in music history. Around 1930, Robert disappeared from the Delta. Nobody knew where he went. When he returned months later, he was different. His guitar playing, once clumsy and rudimentary, had transformed into something extraordinary. It wasn't just good, it was otherworldly. He could make the guitar weep, laugh, and howl in ways that left even the most seasoned musicians in awe. People began to whisper, how could a man improve so drastically in such a short time? The only explanation, they said, was that Robert Johnson had made a deal with the devil. As the legend goes, Johnson had taken his guitar to a lonely crossroads at midnight. There, he encountered a tall, dark figure, the devil himself. The figure tuned Johnson's guitar, played a few chords, and handed it back. In that moment, Johnson sold his soul in exchange for unparalleled musical talent. This story might sound far-fetched, but in the superstitious world of the Delta, it made perfect sense. The crossroads held a special significance in African-American folklore. It was a liminal space, a place where the physical and spiritual worlds intersected. Deals with the devil weren't unheard of in such tales, especially among those who sought power or success. Whether or not you believe the legend, there's no denying the results. Johnson's newfound skill was nothing short of miraculous. His playing was intricate, his rhythms complex, and his slide guitar technique breathtaking. He didn't just play the blues, he embodied them, channeling the pain, longing, and defiance of a people into every note. In 1936 and 1937, Johnson recorded 29 songs over 2 sessions in Texas. These recordings are all that remain of his musical output, but they're enough to cement his place in history. Tracks like Crossroad Blues, Hellhound on My Trail, and Love in Vain showcase his raw emotion, poetic lyrics, and unparalleled guitar work. His voice, haunting and plaintive, seemed to carry the weight of centuries of suffering and hope. Yet, for all his talent, Johnson's life was anything but glamorous. He traveled the South as an itinerant musician, playing juke joints, street corners, and house parties. He lived hand-to-mouth, relying on the kindness of strangers and the few coins he could earn from his music. He had a reputation as a ladies' man, charming women wherever he went, but this too brought trouble. It's said that his womanizing led to his untimely death. In August 1938, while playing at a juke joint in Greenwood, Mississippi, Johnson fell gravely ill. The story goes that he had been flirting with a married woman, and her jealous husband poisoned his whiskey. Johnson died on August 16, 1938, at the age of 27. His death certificate lists no official cause, and the details remain shrouded in mystery. Johnson's death at 27 placed him among the first members of the so-called 27 Club, a group of iconic musicians who died at that age, including Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and Kurt Cobain. But while his life was tragically short, his influence has been immeasurable. Decades after his death, his recordings resurfaced and inspired a new generation of musicians, from Muddy Waters to Eric Clapton. The Rolling Stones covered his songs, and Bob Dylan cited him as a major influence. The myth of Robert Johnson and the Crossroads endures because it captures something timeless and universal. The longing for greatness, the sacrifices we're willing to make, and the thin line between genius and the supernatural. Whether or not Johnson really made a deal with the devil, he achieved something few ever do. He became a legend. So the next time you hear a blues song, with its mournful notes and soul-stirring melodies, think of Robert Johnson, the man who gave his all to the music, and perhaps a little more. His story reminds us that greatness often comes at a cost, and that the blues, at its heart, is about finding beauty in the pain. We sure appreciate you taking the time to watch our video. If you want to see more like it, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel, and especially hit that bell icon till you'll see all our work. We usually post a new story once a week. You can see all our past work at graveyarddance.com. Till next time, thanks for watching.